you want to get a good example, is when you remember the Iranian Revolution. It was not done by Khomeini, it was done by many young people, many youth, leftists, the left, from communism, socialist, even moderate, who were against the Shah for their precautions and for the torture and for the corruption, same issues, okay? And suddenly, Mr. Khomeini arrives from Paris and takes over, and it turns into what it is today, and then you got this guy, Ahmadinejad, or whatever, look at how he looks. So I'm sure all the Iranians did not expect that to happen. So, and the West is watching. It's not really active. It's just like sitting there and watching. I mean, the others are acting.
What do you want the West to do?
They could have supported the liberal parties. They have done nothing to support them.
But don't they have to be careful about, in any way, seeming like they're intervening?
So why are the other ones not careful? Why can Qatar do that and Saudi Arabia, and you have to be careful? Either you prevent them from doing what they're doing, or you don't be careful.
Take us into the world after the election for a moment. If the Muslim Brotherhood Party wins this election, is there room still in that Egypt
for you? Till the end.
But what do you mean by fight?
We will be in the next parliament, even with a minority. We will be in the opposition. We will mobilize the Egyptians, the free Egyptians, to fight for the neutrality and the civil nature of Egypt. We will not surrender to a religious state. So they win, they don't win, we will be there, and we will be continuing our fight.
But continuing the fight in a democratic fashion?
Of course.
You would respect the election outcome?
We have to. As a Democrat, we have to.
You have connections with the Mubarak people. You knew Mubarak, you talked with Mubarak, you were a part of the kind of intermediary force during the negotiations in his last days. Do you think, looking back now, it was a mistake?
No. The problem is that actually it is the Mubarak to blame to what we are in today, because he had not allowed during his reign liberal people like us, advanced young people, to have a different voice than the National Party they had. So while the Muslim Brotherhood operated underground, were completely organized, had their branches, had their finances, had their infrastructure ready. So when the day came for the competition, they're much more stronger. Or what they used to tell us, well, if you don't take me as Mubarak and my party, you will have to end up with these people. So what kind of a choice is that? There must be another choice, So people like me who were not in his party, who did not like the party, who did not approve of the succession theory of his son, were lost. We had no party. So when the revolution came, we thought after that everything will go the right way, and the right way would have been to write the constitution first, to make sure that the civil nature of Egypt is maintained, then to have the election of the presidency, so we have a president, we don't have to have the military ruling, and then we do the elections for the parliament.
So help me understand why people like Mubarak. We saw Gaddafi, who was certainly no friend of yours, or anyone you had any respect for, next door in Libya, being shot in the head after being trapped in a sewer.
That's really a criminal. It's a criminal act.
No, but what I'm trying to understand is, why don't people like that get it in the final days? How can they not see what's happening in their country?
Because for 40 years, 30 years, they live in a completely different sphere. Everybody's scared from them. Everybody smiles in their face. Everybody does whatever they tell them, even if it's wrong. How would you ever think like that? You get disengaged from the reality. Well, the best example is even now, if you look at Bashar al-Assad, for example. He definitely, he gets the Oscar. He sees what happened in Tunisia. He sees what happened then in Yemen. He sees what happened in Libya and in Egypt, okay, and then what happened in Libya, and he doesn't get it. So what more do you want? He has seen the same circumstances, same scenario, and still he keeps on killing his own people every day.
Will it be the same outcome?
Definitely, no doubt. Look, there's a very simple rule. The minute the blood blood of your people has been spilled on the ground, you're finished. The only salvation you have is to prevent that from happening. If you keep on doing that, you sign your own death through.
Even without the help from outside forces?
Even without the help. It will cost more, there will be more victims, but the result is inevitable. Because the more you kill, the more anger you drive in many people.
I understand that. I get that. But I've also heard you express at times that to topple somebody like Assad, to topple a regime like that, it would need help from the outside.
No, not maybe outside, but maybe the army itself will get dismantled. Because we're like in Libya, I mean, some of the army fractions left and they formed the military resistance, and that could be the start. That's why, you know, they have found many graves in Syria of officers being shot. It's like when they tell them shoot the people and they don't shoot, they start shooting on them. You cannot say it's foreign interference when you're watching someone slaughtering his own people. I mean, what is that? It's an excuse not to do anything. Like we all sit at our home, go to bed, and then every day there are 30 Syrians every day dying. How can you sympathize with someone who's allowing these people to be shot because they don't want him?
You know, so much of what you said in this interview leaves one going, is this really working? The Arab Spring. Is it working?
No, it's not working.
Anywhere?
No, it's not working. But it doesn't, you see, you can't argue that because it's not working, then these old dictatorships were okay. They were not okay. So this is a dilemma. The dilemma is that, you know, and I'm saying the West has to play proactive role. They cannot leave us in this mess. All this mess will spill to theirs.
I mean, what's a proactive role? What do they have to do?
The proactive role is to go and see whoever is in charge in these countries, tell them, look, we will not condone a religious regime. It's not interference. We will not condone treating minorities unfairly. We will not condone the non-rule of law and justice. Your countries have to adhere to the United Nations main principles, you know, the human rights principles. Any deviation from that or that, we will interfere.
What do they say when you say to them? Because I know you talk to governments, Western governments.
They don't say anything, and they don't do anything.
How much time do they have to do something?
Not very much time. Too little, very little time. And I'm not telling governments go and bring your armies and interfere. I'm just telling them is you need to be proactive. You need to monitor the situation. You need to try and help rebuilding these countries in a democratic way, not to leave it drift. You know, equality, right of freedom of speech, right to get any job they are qualified for, not based on their race or religion. And we're not asking for miracles.
Fascinating talking to you.
Thank you.
Wish you luck.